metaphor for our own journeys in life. My own personal journey is having a trauma 21 years ago and ended up in psychiatric wards, and all the lost souls. And I had a stigma about mental health, but I soon lost it because they've become the most wonderful family I've ever come across. They just helped each other, they just supported each other. And yeah, we're all migrants, we're all on our journeys, and of course I went really from I thought I had a comfortable life into the crossing, into another world. And these parts here relate for my journey, the migrant's journey, and other people's journey. They're crossing, what happens to you first of all. And here I've done this. I left some old plywood outside in the garden, and over a couple of years it shelled apart. And I've just drawn pictures of people that have lost their identity, lost the crossings, they crossed the sea. And all I've done is, you see the shapes in the wood anyway, so you just go around them. And I've used oil pastels and chalks, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And also it looks like, say, part of the vessel, shipwrecked and all that. It adds to the atmosphere. And this one down here, I just saw the shapes in the wood, and I just put a pencil around them. And there's so many stories there. Yeah, this wonderful image was, I was doodling in our Arts and Minds workshop, and I just dabbed on little bits of paint, and I saw people's faces there. So I just sketched around them, and all the white lines, it's some reaching out for hope, and it's that gathering all huddled together for safety. But I was encouraged by so many people to, once they started seeing these pictures, I was encouraged, and they put their input in, and together we've worked on it. And I can't thank our Arts and Minds enough, the people that come in, because they've all supported me and given me ideas and shared the same stories, shared the same happiness, shared the same tears. I think it was getting involved with watching on the TV the migrant's journey a couple of years ago, where people were so desperate to get away from where they was, which was their homeland, you know, and they'd do anything to try and get across, and a lot of them didn't make it. And it just touched me so much, and I could relate to it in my own ways, where, you know, crossings I'd done and fallen into a nightmare situation, which, you know, never to crawl your way out. But it touched me so much. I started being an artist, which actually started from here at West Studios. I was shown and taught by wonderful tutors to express my feelings, my thoughts on paper in the most simplicity of ways. So it just stemmed from there. I just have to put it on paper. Just have to write about it and draw about it and share it with people. Make people understand, because we're very quick to condemn people, but we don't ask why. And that's the same with mental health, with the people that are homeless, and everybody. We've got to start listening to each other and understanding each other and work together. And that's what we do over at Killamarsh in our Arts and Minds, and the people have come on board. We're like one big happy family now. And it works, you know, it works. It's old-fashioned community values working together. Yeah, this is this beautiful sculpture. The simplicity of it, it's just made out of wire and paper and a little bit of plaster and some spray paint that was black spray paint that was in a tin, and it nearly ran out, but we like the effect on it. And it just shows the despair, you know, it's that lost identity and just asking for help. And I've met so many people like this over the years, and still do. And I live with many people like this on the wards, on psychiatric wards. And like with the migrants' journey, this part is the crossing, and this part over here is the gathering. They're looking for hope, looking for somewhere where they're going to be accepted. And I think a lot of us have been poorly, we're in the same sort of boat. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. So many stories means I think we can all relate to this person. Yeah, down the corridor here is the really the journey, and so we've put some images together. I was encouraged by the occupational therapists on the psychiatric wards to come on a mature access course for 2 years to Chesterfield College, to the West Block, West Studio here. So being back here is amazing. And one of my tutors was this man here, John. So it means so much to me that all them years later, this man's here. And we had some good times, didn't we, John?
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
And we worked in the corridor, in the studio just around
that's
the
it.
corner in the corridor there. So.
Yeah, and we've become friends straight away, didn't we?
Yeah.
And being a Cockney, I like telling stories, don't I?
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got some great stories, and you still tell people, don't you?
Well, that's right. I still tell people about the story you told me of when you went to Lucy and Freud's studio to do some building work.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
What's that story then?
Being a builder in the West End, of course there's lots of celebrities and people live, you just take it for granted. Now it means more. And we worked for Lucy and Freud, and he had a studio down in Holland Park near Notting Hill Gate. And we worked up in his studio. It was amazing. I mean, his canvases used to sell then for $500,000, and he'd done a huge canvas, a huge one. The only way you could get it out of the studio was through the roof line. And he'd finished it, and we used to go through the studio because we was working on the balcony, we felt in it. And he's done this big image, and he finished it, and it was a picture, sorry, not a picture, it was an image of an actor, theatre actor, who sadly has passed away now. And it was huge, and of course with Lucy and Freud's paint, it's very thick, very 3D. Anyway, we just finished the felt roof. I was putting all the plants back for him. He loved bamboos. And I said, while I'm here, Lucy, shall I give him a water with the hose pipe? And he said, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Ian. So in his studio, all he had was a butler sink in the corner. And he had an old hose pipe, and I never checked it. And I put it on, and I went out on the balcony, and he wasn't about. And I'm watering the plants, and I could hear this hissing noise. So straight away, oops, like you just said, oops. I rushed in, turned the tap off, and there was a hole in the hose pipe, and it was spraying right on top of the picture on this bald-headed man's head. And because it was 3D, it was slowly going down a little river. And because he was nude, it dripped off his John Thomas in little drips. I thought, this is it. When, you know what I mean? He's going to sell this for $500,000, like. All of a sudden he walks in, Lucia, and this is the character he was, and this is what an artist should be like. I said, Lucy, I'm ever so sorry. I mean, it was his bleeding nose that was leaking, you know what I mean? But I'm saying sorry. He said, Ian, he looked at it, he said, that's all right. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it was Lucy, and because he'd become a friend. It was just before I moved up here in 1990. And I was there again, another border, to get across. I was thinking of moving up. And he advised me to move up into Derbyshire. He said, go for it, Ian, do what you think's right. He says, I enjoyed my artwork, so it was special. But now it means even more, that encouragement. But the attitude, things that you balls up, your mistakes, you can work at them,
Did you think then when you were a builder that you might end up an artist?
No. I liked doing artwork when I was a child. My first exhibition was, I was 7, I think I was, and Greater London done a road safety competition poster, and I got first for my category in my school. There was about 50 schools involved, and we went to see the Lord Mayor of London, and we got a £10 postal order, and I always remember that. And my mum and dad must have been ever so proud, but the best thing was, afterwards all our pictures from all the different age categories was exhibited at Selfridges. So we went to Selfridges, saw our pictures. I wasn't bothered about the pictures, I'm only bleeding 7. But it was Christmas time, and they had like these little kiosks, like you get the grab machines that take toys up and bring them. But there was like little mechanical elves making coloured pencils, and I was fascinated by that. So yes, art's always been there.
Yeah.
And then I say, when I took ill in '97 and I was encouraged to come here, I went back into art, and these lads opened my mind to appreciate everything. And I realise now that art was the light on my journey, because it's one of the things that saved my life. And these days we work with it, and we do art therapy and we get on with everybody, and yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's good. It's just going dark, and of course one or two of them, because the camera was looking for the light, you get the old shake, but it makes it look more like a painting.
I like how you've placed the outlines of the people, you know, sort of wandering about that.
See, they're with me all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people say, why are you so passionate about what you do? Because all the people that I've been with over the years and supported, and they've supported me. You know, I was a lost soul like them, as I keep saying, but I say, well, I've lost so many people that either give up or took their own lives, but I haven't lost them. They're with me all the time. We're their voice. We're their voice. They're pushing, go on in, get out and talk up for us, because there's hope these days there wasn't years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, artists, I'm delighted to declare this open, but as I say, thanks to all of you for this brilliant exhibition, and this young man next to me is, you know, I think you've done great.
Thank you. I'll see what loose chains I've got for you.
How great it is to come to something nice at the moment. It's a nasty period.
This is all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few words to say. I just want to finish off. Tonight's blown me away. How I'm holding it together, I don't know. When I get home, I shall roar. Yeah, and you know, I'm just going to read just a couple of things, just to jog your memories or minds. It's right at the start of the book, and it's mainly just in abbreviated sentences at the moment. But I'll just read this quickly to you, because this is what it's all about. 12 o'clock, Sunday, 28th of December, 1997. That's why I'm wearing the Christmas T-shirt, not because it's the only one that's clean, that's bad. December 97. My dad was in the middle of Alzheimer's, and I was going through a divorce. I didn't see the warning signs, pushing up the porch with the milk and all that. And I went to the local petrol station, and I took a load of tablets. First time ever. I thought I was going to die. Simple as that. Yeah. I sobbed my heart out. I walked down to my mum. Mum lived down the road. I said, Mum, I've had enough. I'm off. Goodbye. Didn't tell her why. Then I was walking down the road a bit more, and my daughter come up the other way. My oldest daughter, Sally. I told her what happened. She screamed and cried and phoned for an ambulance. So I take it up from there. Took an overdose, visited Mum and said goodbye. Walked down the road and saw my oldest daughter. She phoned for an ambulance. Within 10 minutes I was put on the old machine ambulance. Came to carry her with me, my daughter did. About half an hour later I was told I'd had a breakdown. They put me on Hartington ward. That was the start of my journey. From A to E to the Hartington mental health complex was connected by a very long dark corridor. I was escorted by 2 security guards and a nurse. I'd never been on a mental health ward before. I didn't know what to expect. I felt like a prisoner being led into the unknown. But at the same time, I didn't care. Once on the ward, I couldn't focus. Everyone was rushing around. My mind being so poorly, I just thought I was in hell. I think this is a feeling of arriving in this atmosphere, anybody, for the first time. I was terrified and out of my depth. Little did I know, after a few days and over the future years, these lost souls would become the most special family I've ever had. I soon lost my stigmas, although times on the walls were horrendous. There was also so many happy times. I met so many wonderful characters, including staff. Some of them are here tonight. And I realise now that these wonderful people who supported me would still be part of my well-being now after 21 years. That first evening, 2 male nurses assistants chatted and talked to me. not in an authority way, but in a natural listening way, with humour, which we talked about, and treated me as an individual. Without realising it, I had total respect for these two lads. 20 years on, I still meet them at times in the communities as dear friends. It's people like this that inspires me with the work that I do in the community. Then I'll just finish off with stigmas and mental health. Yeah, we're trying to sort the stigmas off, but it's very hard. I phoned my mother the first night I was in hospital, tried to talk to her through the tears. I told her where I was at the time. Of course, by the tone of her voice, she was very upset, but of course, you know you're a mother. As the days went on, I talked to her on the phone. I could feel the embarrassment in her voice with the way she spoke to me. I felt if my mother could not understand me with the thoughts she had of mental health, our relationship over the next few years could be a struggle. By the communities, and they had been labelled for the rest of their lives, I realised the first glimpses of that label was with my mother. And I'm going to leave you with one little saying. And I've done this a few years ago, just before I moved up from North Winfield. I will never be able to beat the system because I am part of the system. But together, if we listen, understand and care for each other, we can teach the system. Thank you for coming.
I've got two contenders at the moment. I have to say I haven't looked down the corridor, haven't had a close look, but I met Ian at the beginning of our mayoralty at a couple of events, and I have to confess that I didn't know that it was Ian. I didn't know his name, it hadn't registered with me. And so when I've seen him tonight, it's so lovely because we did have some quite interesting conversations about mental health, because it's something that I've also had a few issues with in the past. So it was, and as he said tonight, we were able to be honest with each other. I was immediately struck by the power of all of them, to be quite honest. But there are two in the studio itself that I've got my eye on. One is sort of a black background with white figures on it. They are pure white figures. And then there's another one that I find very powerful, and it contains images that look almost like skeletons. And I think that it makes me feel that you're looking into the person as a whole. It's transparent, and you can see right through almost to the core, because I know that Ian's faith is very important to him, and my faith is also important to me. And what I've noticed in a lot of this is, for me, there's a lot of religious imagery in it as well. The wooden sculptures of the people through there, I can see them as the crucifixion as well as the things that they're supposed to represent. And similarly, there are, I think it's about 4 paintings across the wall at the back of the studio, and my first reaction at looking at those was the Last Supper. But I think that there is such a lot, they are so powerful, these images, that you can, even the ones behind you with the holes through, just where again, they're people, but they're not whole people. And similarly, when you're lonely, you're isolated, you're down, for whatever reasons, you don't always feel a whole person then. It's a big struggle before you actually reach the promised land, or if you ever do, because for some people it is a struggle, you don't actually get there. But no, there's such a lot to see in these wonderful pieces, and the fact he uses the different medium and the bits of wood that he's had lying around, which suddenly have transformed into these fantastic pieces of artwork.
And do you not think that immigration, even within a country, can give people mental health issues?
I do.
Yeah.
And I have to confess that was a problem for me.
Do you want to get on camera?
Because I come from Chesterfield. I moved away from Chesterfield because of training and because of work. And then 20x number of years later, because I can't remember, coming back to my roots, to my family, but I'd left another life behind. And that was very, very hard. And it did give me a really bad time. Loneliness, isolation, depression. So I have been there. And when you are there, you don't see that there's a road out. So, yes, absolutely. Such a lovely man, and you can feel how deeply he feels about what he's doing, and not only his own personal artwork, but the fact the group, how much help and support they give each other, which is, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a definite unity there, and I think, like you were saying to me earlier on about community and how it sort of gets left behind sometimes, we'll get busy with his lives and things, but that community and being part of something matters a lot. And like you said, when you come from somewhere else and you're on your own, you're like, I'm here on my own, what am I going to do, you know? And just to have people that
and even though you're surrounded, I mean, I was surrounded by my family, but it sort of at that moment didn't make a difference. You know, that didn't help it.
It's like as if you've left a piece of your identity, like an important part of you somewhere.
The whole.
And you forgot to. Thank you very much for
that. Is an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
Well done.
Is the border control and their own borders. It's like for myself. I was living down in North Wingfield in Derbyshire and slowly getting there, but not quick enough. I was told there's a place for me over Killamarsh because I need it for my disabilities as well. It was my border. Do I cross that border, go into a new world and try it out, or stay where I was? I crossed it, and I met, well, as I've said before, my life changed so much. Jenny here does all our printing for us. She'll tell you how much you've seen me change as well. We've all become friends, haven't we, darling? Enjoy the sculptures. I mean, these sculptures here. Where's James gone? He's gone somewhere. It was him who said, why don't you paint them spray and black? And they work, you know, to make them look like industrial wrought iron. But, yeah. So, these are just made out of garden wire paper. And we sprayed them black to make them look like old industrial wrought iron. And I think they work.
I think they do, yeah.
Everybody seems to like them, they tell stories.
Yeah.
I don't put faces because we don't want a face. Because when you're not wanted in society, we're very hide away from everything. And of course you make your own faces, that you make your own, I will see something different to what somebody else does in it. And of course it's that lost identity as well again. With some acrylic paint, I just done some strokes going up, and then all of a sudden in the images I saw faces, so it's like being contained, you know, in the containers, being contained, trapped, can't get out. Also, maybe a little bit, I had thought when I was put in a safe house for 3 weeks before I moved to Killamarsh, I was in a glass bottle, well, I felt trapped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, you use your own experiences, don't you? And this is what art is about, you express yourself through your artwork. I mean, years ago, well, people could read all right. The church with the stained glass windows, that was their storybooks, you know, they told stories.
So the display behind you, Ian.
Whoa.
This massive display.
Well, it's emotional, isn't it?
It's amazing, yeah, and I think how it's all laid out is just beautiful.
It's typical border control, it's typical everybody together and not getting the support and help they want. People are crying out for help these days, you know, there's not enough facilities for us anymore. But this started off as an exhibition called Standing Tall. And where I live in Killamarsh, there's the old canal basin which is dried up now. But there was old plant stems in the winter time, were standing there on their own, had been chopped off. And they just fascinated me, so I copied them. They look like wood stems, but they're actually cardboard and paint. because I like doing artwork from the earth, from the ground. So I made up some of these stems because they fascinate. They were still there. They deserved a second chance in life. So then I made some sculptures by putting newspaper in the top. I've left them newspaper because that's their identity. That's their individual identity. And bless her, Reverend Helen, our local vicar, she came to me bungalow one day and she saw one or two of these. She said, Ian, I absolutely adore these. Can we have them up at church? So she gave me the confidence. And we made a project called Standing Tall. Stand up for what you want. Even through the rough times, they were standing there. So of course over the last couple of years I've added to them, and I thought for this exhibition they would be ideal. And people absolutely adore them. This is one of my favourites where the children asking mum and dad, and this one's on his own, what's going through his mind, turned away. I think we've all had some of that.
They are beautiful, yeah. And I think as a collective piece where you've got them all together.
Yeah, I think they've always got to be together.
Yeah. Because when you first look at them, it looks quite, you know, sort of, you wonder what's going on. It's like a big crowd, but when actually you start looking at them individually, and you see how they look individually.
But there's their individual lives. There's us there when we were children as well.
Yeah, they're just beautiful. I like your shepherd as well with the long stick.
Yes, I slip in with the shepherd or the faith side as well, because that's what's helped me as well. I mean, when I found the spirit within myself, I wasn't lonely anymore. And yeah, it's good. This was 8 years ago as well.
Oh wow.
I just distorted a bit, give me a bit of a blue shine on me bald head.
I like it, so would you?
That was, I took that picture, I was doing a picture called, a project when I was living on the wards and going to uni during the daytime. And it was called Lost Identity naturally. And I was doing different pictures of myself. I actually had a t-shirt with this on once upon a time, I haven't got it no more. And it said underneath, psychotic. The staff loved it. So, you're coming just right, Helen, because me and Jane were just talking about Standing Tall, how it developed. You come into my bungalow one day, and you saw the characters there, and they blew you away, because you do like a good sculpture, don't you? And you said to me, we need them up at the church, and that gave me so much confidence.
Me, I just absolutely loved them. And as Ian has said, they did come into church and call them our boys,
My boys, my boys,
And they were part of different exhibitions that we've held at St Giles Church in Killamarsh. And
people have made them their own, haven't
they? They have. And each one of the sculptures tells their own story by the shape that they have. And it's absolutely beautiful. And we're just very proud of Ian and of his accomplishments. And just still got lots more to go.
I actually done a few bits of artwork at the time, and I called it Pressure in a Bottle because there was pressure building up. But as soon as I moved to Killamarsh, and in that first year my life changed, I realised it was meant to be, and I changed the name of these sort of sculptures to Message in a Bottle, and that message still goes on out to other people. And these pieces I just picked up in a junk shop and put them together. Very daunting, very powerful, but very special.
I'm going to have a good look around. This is my favourite room so far.
Because it's the recovery, it's finding what you want. This is a happy, lively room. Like I said, you're enjoying yourself, you're getting involved, and the images speak for themselves. But of course, all this is created by one image. All this journey is created by one image. These pictures, what it was, I went with my family, my younger daughter Joanne and her children, and my son-in-law, to Butlins a few years ago at Skegness. And they've got an amusement arcade, which is one level, and the light was shining through. And I thought, oh, I've got a lens that you put on your camera that kaleidoscopes things, makes things multiply 5 times. And when I took the pictures, it looked like department stores, and everybody multiplied 5 times. So of course I've used these I mean, there's a lot of migrants actually work in Butlins. So that actually the migrants that work in Skegness have made Skegness. They couldn't do without it. It's amazing. But it's a happiness. But at the same time, some are being seen, some are not being seen. Maybe it's the early stages. But there's people in there that were in the original